So what are the best and worst neighborhoods here in Guelph, Ontario? Guelph is growing fast, neighborhoods are evolving, and choosing the right spot has never been more important. I hear from clients all the time. Where are the young families moving to? Which areas have the best schools and parks? Which areas should we avoid? Well, in this video, we are going to be breaking down some of Guelph's best and worst neighborhoods. Let's dive right in. Let's look at Guelph here on the map. We're going to start off with the best neighborhoods here. They're in no particular order whatsoever. We're looking at it from a perspective of a new family moving here to the city of Guelph, Ontario. So we'll look here. We're going to look at the first one here, which is going to be on the southern end of Guelph. And if you aren't from Guelph, Ontario, the southern end of Guelph is going to be probably one of the more favorable areas on the whole, and most of the neighborhoods within the best side of this video will kind of be on the southern end here, with one in particular that isn't. We'll look over here. We're going to go southwest. We're going to go to Kortright Hills, located right on the southwestern tip of Guelph, Ontario. We'll look at the geography here starting off. The one thing I really like about Kortright Hills is the lack of traffic you'll find within this neighborhood. The reason being is that the only people that ever come to this neighborhood are the ones that live in this neighborhood, because you don't have anything kind of on the western side. You don't really have anything on the southern side other than farming. There's a bit of commercial here down Highway 6, but again, that's not going to be people driving through the neighborhood to get to these commercial buildings. A nice thing too, as well, the multiple parks within this neighborhood. Right here, kind of within the middle, we're gonna have Mollison Park, and right here, we're gonna have the Kortright Loops Trail. I'll put up some beautiful video and images of how beautiful this neighborhood here is. There's also a conservation water retention pond within this area south of here. So definitely, if you're an outdoorsy person, this one might be one to consider. In terms of the crime rates, we'll look at crime rates for all the neighborhoods within this video. The crime rate here is going to be 34% lower than the national average within Canada. Guelph on the whole is an incredibly safe city. For example, Guelph itself has a crime severity index of 55.5 compared to Canada's national average, which is 80.6 as of 2025. Crime here pretty much non-existent, maybe the occasional car getting broken into, but non-violent crime, that's not a thing. In terms of real estate and the housing options within this neighborhood, again, we're going to look at mostly the detached side for this video, as we are looking for more of the family that is moving here. So we're looking at homes anywhere from the high 700s to about 1.2 million dollars, and these homes here primarily built kind of in the mid 1980s all the way up to the early 2000s, depending on where you are in the neighborhood. If we look at the neighborhood here, this in particular here, we're gonna have newer homes built in the 2000s, and then of course west of here, of this line here, we're gonna have homes built primarily in the 1980s. So definitely first time home buyer friendly if you're looking kind of that sub $800,000 mark, which a lot of my first time home buyers that are, or second time home buyers, maybe they've moved from an apartment, now they're looking to start a family, definitely one to keep on your radar. This one right here sold within the last 90 days. And this one sold for around the $875,000 mark. This one had a total of 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms above grade, 1 in the basement, a total of 4 bathrooms, and a 1.5 car garage. And we're looking around that 1,700 square foot mark. And this is going to be kind of on the newer end here, built in the early 2000s. So a slightly slimmer lot. You're a little bit closer to neighbors, but an excellent option. Could definitely move in. You wouldn't have to do much inside if you didn't really want to. Definitely move in ready. Now, when it comes to schools, this is where this neighborhood really shines, I think. Kortright Public Schools is a longtime top performer in the city, consistently earning high ratings. In terms of the high school side, we're looking at CCVI, which is the Centennial Collegiate Vocational Institute, which is going to be just north of this neighborhood. Another great benefit of this neighborhood is you're still relatively close to Stone Road Mall, which I'll highlight here on the map. So this is Stone Road Mall up in this area. A ton of shopping options in this neighborhood. You won't necessarily have to go anywhere else for your daily conveniences. Within the neighborhood itself, there might be a convenience store dotted in there, but other than that, yeah, you'll definitely need a car to live in this neighborhood. Moving on to the next neighborhood here, probably one of my favorite neighborhoods here in the city of Guelph. Has a lot of going for it. I think it's very well rounded. We're looking at Old University. So if we Zoom out of the map right here. We're kind of very centrally located. We're just located right outside of downtown Guelph. In this neighborhood, you don't necessarily need to have 2 cars. You can get away with 1 car. Let's say you and your wife, both of you work from home and you don't necessarily need to go to the office. You could definitely get away with 1 car in this neighborhood. You are within a walking distance of downtown Guelph. Absolutely gorgeous area. A lot of limestone in this area, lots of limestone buildings, lots of great local architecture. They do have a beautiful church which overlooks the city. If you want to watch a video about the pros and cons of Guelph, Ontario, definitely can watch that right now. Looking back at the map here, you're close to everything. So this is why I really like this. Downtown Guelph, the University of Guelph, which is the only university within the city of Guelph, very well known for its veterinary school. And then of course, you're really close to Stone Road Mall. You really do have it all in this neighborhood. In terms of the real estate options in this neighborhood, this is going to be primarily dominated by homes built in the early 1900s. So we're talking century homes for the most part, all the way up to about the 1950s. So you might find a 1950s bungalow, or you could find an infill. There's a lot of infill projects, meaning they've demolished the home that was there previously and built something modern, something new, something luxurious. So you are going to be paying a premium within this neighborhood, but I think it's definitely well worth it, considering you do have a very low crime rate. You do have all of the amenities around you. You do have the University of Guelph. In terms of the pricing within this neighborhood, we're looking kind of around that $1 million mark, kind of that average in there. We'll look at one that recently sold, a great example of kind of that century home. And this one sold for around $1.1 million. And this one was over 100 years old. It had between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet above grade, a 48-foot wide by 117 feet deep. Absolutely gorgeous inside. Beautiful architecture, that wood fireplace, original hardwood flooring. You're not going to find character like this in the newer homes, so it's definitely something to look at if you're not looking at getting into a new home. In terms of parks, there's plenty in this neighborhood. One of the most notable ones, of course, is going to be Royal City Park, which is on the northeastern side of the neighborhood, and this runs right along Silver Creek. There's also some soccer fields in here if you're a soccer fan, right in this area here. In terms of other neighborhoods in this area, you have Hugh Guthrie Park, kind of within the center there, bit of a baseball field. And then of course, Moe Hill, there's a community center, Centennial Arena as well. And then of course, you're close to golf courses, close to the University of Guelph, and somewhat close to the University of Guelph's Arboretum. If you're an outdoorsy person, this might be an excellent option for you. In terms of schools, we're looking at John McCrae Public School from JK to 8, which has a rating of 6.5. And then on the Catholic side, we're looking at Mary Phelan Public School. And then again, CCVI when it comes to secondary school. Let's head over to the next neighborhood here that makes up the best neighborhoods here in Guelph, Ontario. And that's going to be Southeast. We'll highlight Guelph here on the map. And this is going to be one of the closest to Highway 401. Excellent if you are looking to commute to the greater Toronto area. And this is going to compose of this area here, which I'll highlight on the map. It's going to be east of Gordon Street, north of Clare Road, and south of Arkell. This neighborhood here is going to be primarily composed of houses built kind of within the mid-2000s. Houses in this neighborhood vary wildly, so price ranges can range from the high 700s for a smaller home on a smaller lot, all the way up to 1.5 million. We'll look at one that recently sold within the last 90 days. This one sold for around $875,000. This one had 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a single car garage with around 1,700 square feet above grade, a 30-foot wide lot. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Definitely move-in ready. There might be some small things you'd want to change, maybe replace the carpet on the stairs, but other than that, an excellent option. Now, another big draw to this neighborhood are the multitude of great schools within this area. So there's Westminster Public School, which has a rating of 7.3, Sir Isaac Brock with a rating of 8.6, and on the Catholic school, we have St. Ignatius of Loyola with a rating of 7.7, and St. Paul with a rating of 7.9. And in terms of high schools, on the southwestern side here, we have Bishop McDonald Catholic School. This area, you are spoiled for choice. In terms of the amenities in this neighborhood, within the neighborhood itself, not too much. There's a convenience store located throughout. Definitely lots of parks, lots of forestry. What is nice about it though is once you've exited, or if you're living on the southwestern corner here, there is what's known as the Pergola Commons, which has a multitude of grocery stores. One of the highlights of this area is I like to have a variety of grocery stores, right? It depends what I'm buying, what I'm looking at. If I'm looking at meat, I want to go to this store. They have better meat than say Food Basics or vice versa. In this neighborhood, you have 3 grocery stores located within 100 meters of each other. We have Food Basics on the northwestern side, Longo's, which is going to be kind of on your higher end in terms of the budget, and you have Zehrs, which is comparable to a superstore for those of you that do not live within the area. Basically, Zehrs would be a superstore. Firehouse Subs, Tim Hortons, Galaxy Cinemas, The Keg. In terms of kind of the demographics in this neighborhood, very family friendly, again, kind of on the younger side. So the head of the household might be, high 30s, maybe 40s. That's kind of what we're looking at here. Definitely mid-range, midlife in terms of the families in there. Looking on to the next neighborhood here, we're gonna go southwest. This is Clarefield. This is going to be definitely on your radar if you're looking to move from the greater Toronto area. It's going to be the most southerly neighborhood in Guelph, Ontario, the closest to Highway 6, the closest to the 401, and of course the closest to Pearson International Airport. One thing that my clients and I do talk about when they are looking to move from the greater Toronto area and they do want to commute once or twice per week are the travel distances and the differences between the 4 cities that kind of make up this area west of the GTA. If we look at Clarefields, which is the most southerly neighborhood in Guelph, we're looking at a travel time of about 44 minutes to Toronto Pearson International. If we look at the city of Cambridge's most easterly neighborhood, an excellent neighborhood called Hespeler Village, we're looking at a 46-minute drive. So basically the exact same driving distance. One thing in particular I'd like to highlight in this video as well is Guelph's average price point is going to be higher than the city of Cambridge. If price is your primary deciding factor, then Hespeler might be a better option for you than going to the south end of Guelph. And if you're looking to make a move here to the city of Guelph, Cambridge, Kitchener, or Waterloo, I'd be more than happy to help you. You can book a call with me in the first link in the description, or call, text, or email. We'll go back to Clarefields. We'll talk a little bit about the safety within this neighborhood. So the average crime rate within this neighborhood is going to be about 9% lower than the city average. In terms of the real estate options, it's going to be very similar to Westminster Woods. I would say a little bit slightly newer. We're talking late 2000s, 2010s for the most part, and houses in here can range from $800K up to $1.2 million. You will find the occasional home that's over that $1.5 million mark, and again, primarily composed of detached homes for the most part. There are some townhomes that are located within this area, which are going to be east, closest to Gordon Street. Let's look at one that recently sold in particular. This one right here, great representation of a sub $1 million house, a great neighborhood, a double car garage, renovated throughout. It's move-in ready. This one sold for $915,000 back in July. This one had 3 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and around 1,700 square feet above grade, 40 feet by 124 feet deep. Looking at options right now, coming into the winter months here, we're gonna see basically the lowest prices of the year coming into November, December, as a lot of people that are on the market, a lot of them are, for the most part, a little bit more anxious to sell. The houses don't show as well in the middle of winter. It's definitely the darkest part of the year, the least amount of competition from other buyers as they're busy with Christmas, they're busy with the new year, they're already planning the new year. And what I see every year, if we look at the graphics here, is the lowest price throughout the year is always going to be in November and December. Definitely we can set some trends here and see that, yeah, in fact, if you were to move in November and December, it might be the best option for you. In terms of shopping options, we're going to go back here. Pergola Commons is going to be the shopping area you're going to be using frequently. So great restaurant in here called Five Guys. They have amazing burgers. And I myself, I live in the city of Kitchener. I sometimes will just drive up to Five Guys in Guelph just to try the burgers there. Let's move to the last neighborhood here of the best neighborhoods, and arguably the best neighborhood here in the city of Guelph. If you're local, you know where I'm going. We're gonna look at the Arboretum. So the Arboretum, I'll highlight here on the map. It's gonna consist of this area, which is gonna be east of Gordon Street, north of Arkell, west of Victoria and south of Stone Road. This is not going to be part of the Arboretum or Kortright East. This is the Village, which we'll get to a little bit later on. In terms of this neighborhood here, the overall crime rating is going to be 15% lower than the national average. There's little to no crime within this neighborhood. Certainly violent crime is not a thing in this neighborhood. We're looking at homes here. The average in this neighborhood is going to be $1.1 million, which is going to be, of course, more expensive than the city of Guelph's average home price, but it's well worth it to be in this neighborhood. You are close to the University of Guelph. You are close to Stone Road Mall, within a walking distance. You are close to the University of Guelph's Arboretum as well, close to golf courses, and you're still on the southern side of Guelph. So if you do need to catch Highway 401 to head to the GTA, definitely this is a great option. There's also some townhomes within this neighborhood, kind of on the eastern side. Those are going to be starting around the $650K mark. If we look at one that recently sold in particular, this one right here sold for around $1.4 million. No rear neighbors, beautiful, well-designed, renovated throughout, move-in ready, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a double car garage, and around 2,400 square feet. Another thing I like about this neighborhood is the age of the home. So these are going to be built primarily in the 1980s and early 90s, which I think is the pinnacle of architecture, modern architecture, I'd say. Of course, you have the century homes with their great character, but I think this has a blend of both. So what I mean by that is the lot sizes here are going to be wider as well. We're looking at a 60 foot by 130 feet deep, which is kind of the norm for this area. So you're going to have a lot more distance between your neighbors. It's a bit more private than you'd find in a newer neighborhood where something like this, around 2,300 square feet, you'd probably see that on a 36-foot lot, maybe with a 1-car garage. In terms of schools, again, great in schools. We have Rixon Ridge Public School and L'École Arbor Vista. In terms of kind of the community and lifestyle of Arboretum, it's definitely going to be a bit more car-centric. If you do have children and they are going to post-secondary, University of Guelph's within a walking distance. Stone Road Mall, you can walk there, but you probably want to use a car in order to pick up groceries and what have you. Now, a bit of a bonus here is going to be the Village of Arboretum, which is going to be this small area in here. And it's a neighborhood in which is age restricted, in fact, which we don't really see too often within Canada. I myself, living in Kitchener, within Kitchener, Waterloo, and Cambridge, we don't have an area like this, which is age restricted. So this one is going to be geared towards 55 plus. It's basically a resort style living. It's extremely safe. There's no violent crime. There's basically no crime in general. It is gated, so in order to access it, you will have to be a resident. The Village is really kind of famous for its resort style living, of course, right? So we have amenities like the Village Clubhouse, an indoor pool, hot tub, sauna, billiards room, library, a 600-seat auditorium. So if you are looking to retire and you want to have a home still, maybe this might be an excellent option for you in the Village. Now let's look at the worst neighborhoods here in Guelph, Ontario. Worst neighborhoods is a relative term when it comes to Guelph, Ontario, because I think most of the neighborhoods here are going to be quite good, but there are 2 in particular that are going to be worse off than the rest of Guelph. Probably the worst area here in Guelph, that's going to be Onward Willow. So Onward Willow is going to be located west of Guelph. You're going to have higher crime rates than most. It has 32% higher crime rate than the city average, which is roughly 13% higher than the national average. So again, it's really not that bad. And another benefit of living in Onward Willow, of course, are the real estate prices. If you look at, let's say, a 3-bedroom detached house within this neighborhood, we're looking at the low to mid 700s for a home in this neighborhood, which you won't really find houses 700,000 within Guelph in most other neighborhoods. Schools and amenities, this is kind of where it lacks. We're talking about schools, they're gonna have lower test scores than average. The average for this neighborhood is going to be 24% lower than the national average. A little bit more crime in terms of violent crime. Again, there isn't much violence in the city of Guelph. Fairly safe. Isn't many homicides. On the whole, it's a safe neighborhood, but definitely I would consider the worst areas here within Guelph are rough around the edges. Now looking at another neighborhood here in the worst category, we're gonna go to the northeast. This right here is the neighborhood of Brant, located right in the northeast. And it's more so this area in particular that I would shy away from. If we look at it from statistical point of view when it comes to the safety and crime, there's about 4,000 incidents per 100,000 people within this neighborhood compared to the Guelph's average of 3,600, so it's going to be slightly less safe. Of course, the real estate here is going to be a little bit more cheap than you'd find in the other areas. We're looking at homes kind of within the 7 to 800K range, built primarily kind of within the 1960s and 70s, so we're going to find side splits, back splits, bungalows and raised bungalows for the most part. The ratings for schools in this neighborhood are going to be fairly average B to C ratings. We have Waverly Drive Public School, Brant Ave Public School, to name 2 of them. Now, if you're looking to make the move here to Guelph, Ontario, you can book a call with me in the first link in the description, or call, text, or email.